Well, of course, if she mutes her audio, it probably won't even pull up her
Yeah,
camera. I didn't even
it'll
think
be
about that.
fine.
And we're
You
live, I
two are
think.
live.
I'm just gonna assume we're live because usually we are, even though.
Very awkward. Like the first 30 seconds are always really weird. Oh
I
yeah.
know! We're there. It's on there. I don't even know how long it's been on. How's it been? 18 seconds.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Hello, everybody. Woo! About dropped my phone.
Good evening, friends. Happy week of Thanksgiving.
Welcome to Country as a Biscuit. Why did I turn super redneck
Boy,
right then?
every time you say that, it just gets more and more hick. I love it. I'm here for it.
Ah, I have I have I have problems. Uh well, today has been all about the accents for me. I don't know if you saw my video.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I'm home alone a lot right now.
I was gonna say your kiddo has been um in Kansas for the last what
Yeah.
week, I think.
Yeah.
And you're getting very, very creative with some of your social media content. If you guys have slept on Cynthia's post the last about 5 days, you are missing out. There is some gold material on there right now.
You want to say it's gold. No, I actually, so it's funny. I posted the video of me doing the accents with the bread thing. And about, I posted on YouTube, and Ethan is always on there. And if you guys don't know who Ethan is, he's my son, Ethan. He's 13, almost 14. That's still so weird to me. And he calls me on video chat, Lauren. And he's like, he goes, "Do you know why I'm calling you?" I go, "No." Just out of the blue. Like, we normally always call in the evenings and sometimes in the mornings, but he never calls in the middle of the day. He goes, "Your video on YouTube." And he was like, so appalled. He goes, "You need to take that down now." And I was
You
like,
embarrassed
"No."
your teenage son.
And what's even funnier is I was like, "No." I was like, people. I think people are enjoying it." He goes, "There's not even any views on YouTube." And I said, "Oh, well, I don't care. People are watching it on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok." And he goes, "It's on all of those?" And I go, "Yep."
So you're
And he's
officially
like,
entering that phase of life where you're becoming an embarrassment for your teenager.
"I love it. I love it. It's
You have
fantastic."
arrived. You have arrived.
I have arrived. I am officially an embarrassment to my 13-year-old. And
Yes,
you know what?
what an
I
accomplishment.
love it.
That's the epitome is showing up and embarrassing your child. I love it. Absolutely.
Before I
What?
forget, tell them about your shows and stuff coming up. I'll be right back.
Okay, yeah. I have a pretty big weekend. I have no idea what she's doing. I think she's baking something. We joke that our show is a cooking show. It kind of is tonight. I think she has something in the oven. Yeah. First of all, thank you guys for tuning in. We have a really, really fun show for you tonight. One of my very, very good friends is going to be here to join us a little bit later. But to tell you about my weekend, I am. Oh, okay, sorry. She just did something. This is going to be a funny story later. But I'm repping my James Cook merch tonight because we are making a live record this Friday.
Woo!
I'm
Yay!
so freaking excited. I've been a part of a very small live record one time that actually never even turned into anything. It was a really fun show, but I don't think the record ever happened. So James hit up the band a couple of months ago and was like, "What do you guys think about making a live record?" And we were all on board. So Friday night, Black Friday in Wichita Falls, Texas, we are making a James Cook live record. So that's a big deal. And then Saturday, I'm driving back to Oklahoma. I have a show with my really good friend Maddox Ross. We've had him on the show. He's our little buddy. He's going to be playing at the Chicken Shack in Arcadia, which is not too far outside of Oklahoma City. I do believe, I want to say that's on Route 66. Tracy can probably correct me, but it's across from the Round Barn of Arcadia. And I got a show with him. And then on Sunday, we have a really, really special event that we're attending. We have the September Moon baby shower. Coming back to Fort Worth to attend that. And then Monday night, I have rehearsal with Cynthia because we have shows next weekend. I'm really excited.
Yep.
We sing Madame Pearls in the Stockyards. I like their place, because it's at the top of the hill and it's the easiest to get to out of all of the places in the
Load in
Stockyards.
is a breeze. Load in and load out is a
Dude,
breeze.
load in anywhere in the Stockyards is pretty poopy, except there. So
Poopy?
we've got, and it's really cool. That show's going to be special because your band is like almost all from September Moon.
It was not supposed to be that way, but
It didn't start out that way. We've got a lead player, a bass player that you're borrowing from our friend September Moon. That's how it works in Texas. Everybody swaps musicians. There's no such thing as like loyalty to one band, because there's
unless you're full-time touring, which
unless you're in a full-time camp, and that definitely is a cool gig. But I don't know, I like knowing that I show up and I never know who's in the band. So yeah, next weekend we're in Stockyard, so we got a lot going on top of it being Thanksgiving this week.
Do we want to talk about our plan for Saturday?
Yeah, so I don't know, we can maybe get some feedback from our friends who are watching. We have a crazy idea on Saturday. Tell them about it. Maybe if you say it, it won't sound as crazy.
What in our history together tells you that me saying something is going to sound less crazy? I could read the phone book and it'll sound crazy. Some people
you can also read a recipe and it sound crazy, so we already know that. But tell them what we're gonna do. That was
a brilliant video. Anyways, okay, so our plan was, so Saturday I originally was supposed to play in Alvarado. Some things came up and happened where that is no longer an available slot at this time. Hopefully, again, in the future, we'll be able to reschedule. But anyways, so what our plan was, me and Lauren came up with this crazy little idea. I'm sorry, I don't know why this feels like it's illegal for some reason. We have decided to try and do a pop-up Country as a Biscuit live show type thing in the Stockyards somewhere on
we don't know where. It's basically going to be wherever they allow us, because we don't really know what the rules are for playing wherever you want down there. So we're just going to take our stuff and we're going to say, hey, come find us. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm really excited about it.
I am too. And the thing is what our plan is not saying exactly where we're gonna be in the Stockyards, but if you are a fan and you are watching the show and you see our advertisements and stuff, because we're gonna plan on, like, if we can make this work, we're gonna do it. We're gonna advertise that we will be in the Stockyards somewhere, and if you can come and find us, take a selfie with us and post it on Facebook and tag us, of course. We will put you in a drawing for a merch package for Christmas. So, of mine.
That was great. Yeah, and I liked that idea. Yeah, so we don't know where we're going to be. We're just going to try to find a place and ask for permission. It could be anywhere. It could be in front of the place. It could be on the side of the road, wherever they will allow us. But kind of like a little musical scavenger hunt. Come find us in the Stockyards.
Yeah, find us in
and
the
that is next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
A week from this Saturday. Next Saturday.
And then Friday night. Yeah, we'll be in the Stockyards Friday night too at Pearl's. So
we're gonna try to make it a double header in the Stockyards. It's our favorite place to hang. So y'all come hang out with us next weekend. This weekend, get your butts to Wichita Falls and watch me make a live record. Really makes me nervous because whatever comes out of my instrument is going to be on a record forever. Like, no pressure.
You are going to be fabulous. You're overthinking it.
I'm overthinking it. We had rehearsal last night and the rehearsal was really good, but I was 100% in my head, and I'm never in my head. Usually I show up at a performance and it's just on the spot. My instinct is really good. Well, when I was actually thinking about it, I just could not connect with what I was trying to do. So hopefully I can get all that negative stuff out of my head. Cynthia did a good job of hyping me up today. So we'll see what happens. This will be fun. Yeah. Well, before we get our guest on, can I play a song tonight?
You can.
Oh, wait. You have a story.
I have a little story for you guys. Real quick. Okay. And then she will play you a beautiful fiddle tune that'll blow your mind and make your evening fabulous. And she always does. So, my husband, God love him, my husband's job had a family safety day recently, about 2 weeks ago. And apparently, during this family safety event, they had a chili cook off competition. My loving husband thought my chili with beans, I have beans, and in Texas, that's a big no no. But I had beans in it, and he thought it was fabulous enough to put in the competition. So he entered me in to make some chili. Well, I went up against some heavy hitters. There was some good chili in there, y'all. I mean, it was yummy. One of them had brisket. I mean, what?
Oh.
I know. I was so like blown away. But anyways, I won.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I got a trophy. You haven't even seen this yet.
I
Fully.
haven't
No.
seen the trophy.
It's got a pepper and a pot, a spoon, and fire for the
It
chili.
looks like a cauldron. I love it.
Oh, I am so proud. I'm going to put it right by my new female vocalist of the year award.
Yes, we had a discussion and said that it needs to go next to your T3R award for sure.
I'm so proud. I won a chili cook-off in Texas.
You
With
guys have no idea. You have no idea the thread of messages that was going through the day of that. She went from being mad about it, being mad at Wes, happy about it. She was all over the place that day, and she brought home the grand. That's what matters.
I not only got a trophy though, guys, I got an ice cream maker. Like a big fancy one.
Hello.
It takes over half the RV, but it makes fabulous ice cream. We've had ice cream twice already. I'm going to be 300 pounds. Anyways,
well,
moving on.
When I come for next weekend, we will have an ice cream party.
Yes,
sure.
we will.
I love it. Well, before we keep yapping, let's get on with our show tonight. What do you say, ma'am?
Yes, let's do this thing.
Okay, well, I'm going to play a little song for you guys. I got to play a gig, I think it was last week, which was so much fun. I made a little post about it. I got to play with a couple of legendary Oklahoma musicians, and I got to play country music. And I'm talking Merle Haggard, Bob Wills, George Strait. I don't think we played a single George Strait song before like 1991. We played all of the hits. So I've really been in a good country music mood. So I thought I would play a song for you guys. And if anybody, we have several friends in here watching. If anybody recognizes this, I'll give you bonus points if you can name it in the comments. So here is a little country music for you guys tonight. Here we go. Hold on. Can't hear it. There. We good now? All right. Sorry about that. Here we go. Try again. Whoever can name it, let's see what happens.
Bravo, bravo. I didn't recognize it at all, but it sounded beautiful.
You wouldn't, because you're not as classic of a country gal as I am, I guarantee you our guest tonight will know what it is. I will be highly surprised if she doesn't.
She probably knows everything there is to know about country music out there, pretty much.
So our Noni had a good guess. It was not Westphalia Waltz, but you're kind of on the right train there. It wasn't the Bob Wills made it famous. So there's a hint. And if Tracy doesn't know the name of it, I will tell you guys what it is. But speaking of Tracy, I think it's time we get to our guest tonight. When we started the show, we had no idea what we were doing, but we knew we wanted to include friends of all areas of the music industry. And that also means having some of our radio DJ friends in. So may we please announce our first radio DJ guest of the show, Miss Tracy Thomas. Join us, friends.
Tracy.
She's
just streaming, and she's gonna get here just fine, I'm sure. But it's gonna.
Yes, she's joining us here momentarily.
Well, there she is. Okay,
I'm a rook. I told you guys I was a rook, and I made a rookie mistake. I'm sorry.
You're totally fine. Don't even worry about it. You know what? Half the time, the other day, I accidentally stopped the live before we even were done. I just hit the end button, and so yeah, don't feel bad at all.
Did do that.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I'm not the only one to.
No,
I'm still catching up.
Company. You're in good company. Welcome to Country is a Biscuit. We are so happy to have you. We go back a ways. This is more than just having one of the most famous Oklahoma DJs on our show. Tracy and I have known each other for, oh my gosh, over 2 decades at this point.
Yeah, we do. We go back. I was trying to remember where you and I met. Where did we meet? Was it at a show?
It was probably either Oklahoma Opry or the McSwain or some local something in Ada. Who knows? It's
I'm thinking it might have been McSwain. Yeah.
Where I want to say it might have been McSwain, which is in Ada, a fantastic show here that we have locally that you've been able to host several times and play at. I've been a part of. It might have been there, but there's a good chance it could have been anywhere.
Yeah, and you're right about the McSwain. That is where Blake Shelton started when really working at his music when he was just a kid, and he has appeared on documentaries about the McSwain that goes way back to the 20s with live performances and movies too. So we're so lucky to have a town that has a live venue like this that supports live music, and something fun is always going on there. But this is exciting to me to be with you guys. I've never done a Facebook Live, never done a show like this. So I'm very, very proud that you asked me.
Oh. Well, we are thrilled to have you. Cynthia kind of talked about, I would think we were a couple of shows in, and she kind of said, the show title Country is a Biscuit is from a few different things. But when we really got to thinking about it, she was explaining how our careers are kind of like making a biscuit. Like it takes all of these different ingredients and layers to really be a successful artist. And a big part of that ingredient is the radio world.
Well, I've had a pretty unique journey because I was in it when we were playing half records and half CDs at my first station. And then I've come all the way across the decades to where we don't play hard copies of music at all. It's all digital. And so I've definitely seen the world change completely. And I'm really happy to still be here. I'm in 30 plus years now in radio, and I'm so happy to still be in the game. And when so many jobs have gone away, to still be standing, I'm just grateful as I can be to still be in it. It's still so much fun. I'm still hooked completely on music, and just to be able to basically play and do my hobby every day and be paid for it is pretty amazing.
I completely understand that one. No, I think radio does not get the credit that it deserves, not only legacy-wise, what it has done for music since the beginning of radio to now, but all the streaming services and everything got their platforms and their ideas from radio. All of these programs and everything, radio was the first beast out there for entertainment, and they set the standards high, in my opinion, and I don't think that anyone has actually ever fully surpassed that. And I'm not just trying to I'm not trying to sweet talk you or nothing, but I have nothing to gain from that. I think it's really important that artists understand what radio, musicians, everybody in the world, listeners and artists alike need to understand what radio does for our communities. They don't only play music and support us artists. You guys are important for like traffic information, weather, alarms, a big old huge government announcement type stuff. I mean, radio has been a part of the biggest moments in history, and I think that's really cool that you, for the last 30 plus years, which still can't freaking believe you're as old as, I'm not gonna say your age, but y'all wouldn't believe how she is. I'm sorry, that sounded bad. I'm so sorry. No, she's not old, but like her age, she looks fantastic in my opinion. And so
There's
like
something in this Oklahoma water down here, y'all.
if I wasn't already burnt from the tanning bed today, then I would definitely be red in the face. I apologize. I'm gonna shut up now and let you talk.
Okay, I'm going to remember that. That's a story I'm going to be telling. That was fun.
We have all kinds of crazy shenanigans. There's no script for this show. It is whatever comes out.
Welcome to my life, not just the show.
Well, Tracy, you mentioned being in radio for over 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
Take us back to like, what did it look like getting into radio 30 years ago?
I fell in love with radio literally when I was less than 10 years old. We had some fantastic local musicians here in Ada, local DJs here in Ada, who were so much fun to listen to, who created theater of the mind, even when it was a simple contest on the air. For instance, one Halloween, if you were the right caller, you got to go into the haunted house. And if you open the right door, you won a prize. If you open the wrong door, there might be a goblin or a vampire or something else that would reach out and grab you. And this was all created with theater of the mind. And I drove those guys crazy on the request line, calling them, and they were so engaging. And some of those guys are my friends now, which is a huge thrill. But that's when I fell in love with it. And I played DJ, recorded, pretending I was a DJ on a tape recorder when I was a kid. Went to college, started out as a mass comm major, ended up with a teaching degree, which I never did, and was working at a video store. And a lady was one of our regular customers. And she said, I like your voice. Have you ever thought about doing radio? And she was a local station manager. And she let me come down and audition. And they didn't have an on-air position at the time. I think she was using that to get me to sell for them. And I was a horrible salesperson. So that was a bad decision on her part. I'd have starved to death if I had to rely on it. But when I was not selling ads, the jocks were kind enough to let me hang out in the studio. They showed me everything, which was, looking back, that was such a huge gift. Some people wouldn't have been that gracious. They wouldn't have wanted to help. I'm sure you guys might have run into that as musicians too. But they taught me so much and encouraged me from the beginning. And that's where I started. That was a little 3,000 watt station here in Ada, which is no longer on the air. And I was here a few years, and I went from doing Sunday nights, which is where you started as a DJ at the time, because nobody's listening on Sunday nights. You can make all the mistakes and nobody will hear them. And a couple of years later, we had switched formats from adult contemporary to hot new country. Perfect timing. And the Garth boom had just started. George Strait, huge, even then. And so we went on the air with that. I knew nothing about country music. I wasn't raised on it at all. My folks didn't listen to country music. So I was buying magazines and buying books of country top 40 that had trivia in them that I could use on the air. Casey Kasem, who might be before your time, but
man, we listened to him every weekend for the countdown.
Oh yeah, he was one of my heroes coming along, and so I got some of my style from him. Part of my style from Carol Arnold, who was on KTOK in Oklahoma City, an absolute legend in talk radio. Her intimacy and immediacy, like I'm talking just to you, I got from Carol Arnold. And then the trivia and bringing the artist aspect into it, I got from Casey Kasem. And so I owe those two so much. I was there in Ada for a couple of years, got a call on the request line from a guy who was from Tupelo, coming into town to visit his folks over the holidays. And he heard me on the air and he said, I work at KTCS in Fort Smith, and they're looking for a woman right now for middays, which is the usually 11 a.m. to 2 or 3 in the afternoon shift, my favorite shift. And so I sent them a demo tape and I got hired. And in a couple of weeks, I was moving away from home for the first time. And at KTCS, which is about 3 hours away in Fort Smith, I had to be totally on my own financially and everything else. And it was a huge growing experience. It was really hard at times, but they treated me so well there. And that's where I learned about the relationship between radio and Nashville. They were a reporting station, which means they make their decisions every week on the songs that they're going to start playing or that they're going to increase in airplay. And they keep in touch with representatives from the record labels to let them know, hey, I'm going to be playing your song more this week than last week. Or, oh, I'm a cat person too. Look at that pretty kitty.
Sorry. She wanted to be on the screen, apparently.
Distracted.
Sorry.
Instead of squirrel, it's cat. Oh, cat.
Princess had to make her appearance.
Apparently. Sorry. Go on. You were saying. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm kind of babbling, but that's where I learned about. That's where I learned about the rotation. In other words, I only played your song 10 times last week. I'm going to amp that up to 15 this week, or it's going into heavy rotation next week or whatever. And that was crucial for making those songs go up the charts and obviously increasing their visibility and familiarity with the listeners. And that was also the first time I experienced artists coming by the station. KTCS was a huge station to work at. I didn't even realize when I started there how huge it was and legendary. And so any of the artists that were coming through town, and many of them did, to play at a club right down the hill from us, would come by the station. And I was just blown away by that, and got to meet
I
so
gotta
many
say,
interesting people.
Your Facebook, being friends with you on Facebook is just a joy, because you have the most incredible stories and random pictures that you will post. I'm talking the biggest country stars to come out of the 90s. You met them all. You got to interview them. You got to be, sometimes you were, one of the first people that got to play their music. What was it? I know at the time it probably wasn't the grand scheme of what we see it now, but what was it like being a DJ in the 90s with the country music scene just exploding? Because in my mind, it had to be so cool. But again, we're looking back now and are seeing this 90s country thing make a huge comeback. Was it in the moment as amazing as what I have it in my head to be?
I have to say it was. It was, I couldn't have picked a better time to be in country radio. And not only because, as I said, all the artists are coming by the station. That like doubled and tripled once I moved to Oklahoma City, by the way. I was in KTCS for a couple of 3 years, wonderful folks, and then went to Oklahoma City, KXY, my dream gig. I had grown up listening to the legendary morning duo Dave and Dan, and suddenly I was working right after them. I was on the air right after Dave and Dan, and they were when I started there, KXY was one of the top 3 country stations in America. That's how huge country music was. And we were the epicenter, right in the center of the country. Garth's basically hometown radio station. So we were big dogs. And you'd go to the grocery store and people would recognize you and want an autograph, or at concerts, it was people yelling your name, and it was crazy. It was so much fun. And I worked with the best people. Brother Bill Reed, who's at the Wolf in Oklahoma City now. He was my music director at KXY. He and I are still great friends, and I learned so much from him. Dave and Dan, so many more. Patty Garrett, my late friend who did mornings with Dave and Dan.
I remember being a kid, and probably my earliest musical radio memories was her. I remember 96.1 being the premier station. Like, that's where you not only were going to hear who was current, who was hot, but the interviews. And you guys were always promoting shows. Like, if there was a concert in town, y'all were partnering with it, always giving away tickets, always. And we would go to concerts in the 90s, and the DJs would introduce the artists at the shows. Like, that's something I remember growing up seeing.
It was an amazing thing. You'd be at the Myriad or at what is now the Pavecom Center, and there's 15,000 people looking at you, and you're on stage saying, "Hey, y'all, listen, Monday you could win this or that, and now here are the Dixie Chicks, or whoever." And it was an incredible time. I remember Bill Reed knew that I was interested in all music, but very interested in the new artists who were coming along. And he said, "Hey, we've got some girls coming by next week who I think you're going to want to hear." He said, "I remember when I was living in Houston, they were playing on street corners with their guitar case open for tips. And it's these two sisters, and now they've added this lead singer who's apparently amazing, and they're going to be playing at VZD's over on Western. So you should go. But
I've played there, by the way.
You did? Oh,
yes.
wow. See, I didn't
open anymore.
I had something going on with the family
open,
and I didn't go.
Yeah, it was open until this last year. It changed ownerships and then it ended up just closing. But yeah, I didn't know it was that cool of a place when I played there the first time. And then people were kind of like, you do know some of the people from all genres, not just country, but jazz. Like VZD's was a huge venue for big time jazz artists to come play these small intimate shows. And I think that's what's so cool is the radio world and the music world is so connected that you were just as involved in those shows as what we were as musicians.
And you're right. It was a really magical time. And there was VZDs and there was In Cahoots, which is now, I think, Cowboys, right? And then there was Graham Central Station. There were 2 or 3 other country bars in town where there was live music. Most every night of the week, you could hear live music in Oklahoma City, and big concerts at those clubs most every weekend. I remember seeing Kenny Chesney the night that Bill and then one of my coworkers, Bear Marlowe, he and Bill went on stage and gave Kenny his first gold album. Kenny was about to cry up there on stage. He was totally surprised. Dixie Chicks, when they were just making their way up, they'd had their first couple of big hits played in Cahoots, and we were there. Another thing was the State Fair still brings in these big stars, but then even more so. The rodeo back then would have like 4 or 5 nights of big country stars, and there were just so many ways to access live music in Oklahoma City then. Some of those that are no longer there or they're on a smaller scale. But what you said earlier about getting to break new records, I remember the first time I played There's Your Trouble by the Chicks. I remember, or I Can Love You Better, actually, I think was the first single. And I remember the first time I played that.
Yeah.
And I remember when Garth was the biggest guy in the world when he played the Myriad, and we went backstage and my knees were shaking, and he treated everybody in the party. He made sure that everybody in our group, that he spoke to them personally. And some people were too awestruck to say a word. Jeremy Goodrich, one of my coworkers, was just a kid, and he was so awestruck. He was just sitting there looking at Garth, and Garth said, "Where'd you grow up?" And he said, I believe I grew up at Yukon. And Garth said, "Oh," or Mustang. He's like, "Oh, I know," or Moore. He's from Moore. He said, "Oh, hey, I know so-and-so down there. Do you know him?" Or, "I played football with so-and-so." He put everyone at ease, and he was the biggest star in the world. And was he something I've always remembered. Go ahead.
Was he as kind as, so I worked with a promoter that knew him personally, Garth personally, and she said that he was like the sweetest, nicest, always took care of people, like made sure people knew that they were important to him. Is that like a true across the board situation? Like, was that, from the sounds of it, it sounds like he cared about you guys and made sure people were included, but did it seem like that was across the board what it was like with you guys as well on your end with Garth?
It did. He really impressed me in going out of his way to put people at ease. And something else funny that happened that night, we were at the meet and greet, and he had some couches brought into the room where he was greeting us, and there were a couple of big ice chests on the floor, and he said, "We've got water, beer, soda, whatever you guys want." And then a roadie stuck his head in the door and said, "Hey, we're going to order Taco Bell. What do you want?" and Garth said, "Give me so." He hollered out his order to the guy, and I said, "Come on, dude. You're the biggest star in the world and you're getting your crew Taco Bell." He said, "Hey, I can feed everybody on $50.
Hey, you know what? Then you can pay him more.
There you go. Hey, I've been part of many late night Taco Bell runs after shows. Garth knows what's up.
It hits the spot in a pinch after a show for sure. Yeah.
Well, and let me tell you one more. Sorry, one more thing about Garth.
Yes, ma'am.
This is how canny he is. You know, he was the marketing major at OSU. And one thing that he did that was so brilliant, we had our tickets that we were given to use at the concert. We had a ton more that we gave away, but the radio was given a special pack of tickets for us. And he clearly knew exactly where we were sitting, because I was sitting in kind of a press box deal that was just like the first level up off the floor. It was kind of a press box, probably for sporting events. And I had binoculars because I had heard that his face is so animated when he performed, and I wanted to be able to see his face. And so I had my binoculars, and I'm looking, and he looked right up my way, and he pointed, and he goes, And I pulled my binoculars down and I looked and he went,
Oh, how funny.
oh yeah. So he waved at me at the press box. I thought, how smart is that? He knew where the radio people were sitting. And it's something I've never forgotten. It was an amazing thing. So that's
well,
just
obviously you never forgot. That really made an impression.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, on that note, what is one of your, we have a question from Cynthia, not this Cynthia, a different Cynthia on our chat right now. What is your favorite part about radio, and what was one of your favorite, and another question is, what was one of your favorite artist interactions?
Other than Garth Brooks calling you out stage.
Yeah.
We got to do so many interviews back then. There are a lot of stories I could tell. I bore you stiff. I've got so many. I'm already geeking on y'all. So just do this when you need me to shut up and take a breath. But what I love most about radio is the immediacy of it. It is so intimate. I'm talking to one person. Most people are listening to the radio by themselves, whether they're at work or in their car. And so I'm talking one-to-one with them. And we're not a top 40 or top 20 station. So it's not like I'm taking requests and doing contests. We're a community station that I work at now, KCNP in Ada. We're the Chickasaw Nation's community radio station. And we play all kinds of music. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. But there was nothing more magical in radio than saying something on the air and the request line lighting up. When you pick it up, somebody was laughing at what you said. It cracked them up. Or I would do different bits on the air, like, what's the most redneck thing you've ever done? And people called in with stories that I would play back on the air. And I laughed so much that day, I was just tired by the time my air shift was over. Or we did How I Met My Sweetheart stories every year on Valentine's Day, or on artists' birthdays, would play their music all day long. And the immediacy of people reacting to that and calling in. Our Children's Miracle Network Radiothon that we did every year at KXY, we raised hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years for children's medical research. And asking people to call in and having them do that and to give their hard-earned money because of something we're letting them know about was just humbling and amazing. And the relationships that we made with those very special kids and their moms and dads and the folks behind the scenes at the hospital is just, it was absolutely incredible. And the magic of radio is that, the immediacy and the humanity of it. That's what I still love about it, even today. There's no other media, including this, that's quite like radio. And you don't need internet. You don't even need electricity. Radio is free to everybody and accessible everywhere in the world. And if ever information needs to be disseminated in an instant, radio is the number one way to do it.
Very, very true. Yeah.
And I'll play the trumpet, brass the horn for radio all day long. I still love it after all these years.
That is kind of where I was trying to go earlier in my not so eloquent way. I was trying to say how important radio is in that respect. So I love that you put it so well, and obviously more informed way than I was, but as a listener and a performer who gets played on radio, it's so cool to hear your take on it. And we're really looking forward to interviewing several in the industry that we can really like glean from you guys and understand your side of things, because I think that it gets lost in translation, one, and two, that we're so focused on our side of what we're doing, we don't always think about what you guys are doing on your side. And so it's really exciting for me to hear how your brain works and how you view it, your point of view and everything. It's really educational and cool. And don't worry about geeking out. I'm geeking out. I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like hearing so much, and it's so cool.
When I told Cynthia about having you on, because we talked about, we need to ask our DJ friends who we're going to ask. We know a lot of them, especially down in Texas. And I just got to thinking, I'm like, dude, there is nobody better to start with than Tracy Thomas. Like, not only just for me personally, because grew up hearing you on the radio before I ever even met you. I mean, I'm talking was a kid in the 90s. You were one of the familiar voices, but just your presence and seeing the growth of, like you said, how important radio is, and knowing that you were in on the ground floor on some of these artists coming through peddling their first single. I mean, these are artists that no one even knew about. So looking back, what was maybe an artist interaction that you had that would have been their first single, that someone that completely blew up after that? Is there anybody specific that comes to mind?
Yes, definitely. Because early in an artist's career, there's a radio tour, and often before the first single
We
even
know
comes
all
out.
about those in
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah. And they're visiting stations all around the country, just creating that relationship between the artist and the label and the radio station. And so a lot of stars that came to be very big, we saw before they had a single out. I remember Terry Clark coming by the station, just this big, lanky, beautiful cowgirl with a cowboy hat on, and I was on the air, and then all the way down at the other end of the hall was our conference room, and she was giving a little conference room concert down there, and I could hear her in studio behind a big, heavy door because her voice was so powerful.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and she made an impression because she was clearly so talented, so down to earth, and what you see is what you get. And she remembered us over the years, and we encountered her many times over the years. She was always very friendly, always available for an interview, and very gracious. And um, but we had many artists like that. Trace Adkins, before he had a single out, we went out to dinner that night after we did a interview or conference room concert with him, and he barely spoke. He was so quiet and shy. And about a week later, Bill Reed handed me an envelope, and it was a note from Trace. He had written Bill and my other boss a note thanking them for the visit, and he thanked me, and I was just the midday jock. And but he said I had a notebook back in the days before internet. Listen here, kiddies. Back in the days before internet, you couldn't just Google information to use on the air like you can now. And I would clip articles or write notes that I had read or heard about this artist. And I had a notebook full. And when Trace came by, I had found an article. I think it was in Music Row magazine back then. And I'd torn it out and had it, and I'd highlighted some things. And we were in the conference room, and I was asking him other things and writing it down. And in his note, he thanked me for doing that. He said, I'm really nobody. And so I appreciate you taking an interest in me. And I hope I'll give you a lot more things to write down and talk about. So how gracious of him.
That's so personable, you know?
Yes. I mean, just a very, very kind thing to do.
What's like a really weird, like if you look back and you think, man, one artist that's like a funny story or just an odd interaction, is there anybody
She's wanting dirt. She's wanting dirt.
I've got a good one for you, as a matter of fact. Oh, man. Because it went from Arkansas to Oklahoma City. Aaron Tippin came by the station, again, one of the friendliest people that you'll meet. And I had to let him in the back door at the radio station, which was locked. And so my boss said, hey, Aaron's coming across the parking lot. Can you let him in? When I opened the door, Aaron's walking toward us. And all of a sudden, this woman comes running across the parking lot and just threw herself on Aaron. And obviously, he was very startled. And she's like, hi, Aaron. Surprise, here I am. And he's like, yeah, hi, how are you? It's good, good to see you again. And so he said hello to her, and they had a brief conversation. He came on in the building, and I could just see kind of a look of relief on his face once we got that door locked again. And he said, yeah, she's a really big fan. And I said, oh, okay. And so we had our visit with him that day. And within months, I moved to Oklahoma City to do radio. And we were at Aaron's concert that he was in town for. And at the meet and greet, there was that woman, and she had a little boy with her, and she said, here's little Aaron. We just wanted to come and say hello. Yeah, so she'd gone all the way from Oklahoma City to Fort Smith to ambush him in the parking lot, and then caught up with him in Oklahoma City as well. And yeah, it was she was a very persistent fan. And then a few years later, she had another little boy named Ty, because she was a very big Ty fan too. You remember who was in Garth's band? Yeah, she named England. Ty England. She named a little boy after him too. So,
boy, she was a super fan.
Yeah, she was very enthusiastic. Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, was Aaron single at the time?
Yes, I don't believe he was married to Thea then. So, but
okay,
but the thing is, that wasn't his little boy. That was not.
No, his No. No, what I'm saying is, I'm really glad that I came onto this scene when I was fully married with a child, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm like, I have a husband. He's hot too, so we're good.
I don't think this lady would have cared if he had one or not.
I know, right?
I don't think that would have made any difference at all. No. Well, they say that way back in the day when Willie was during the outlaw era, that there were women who would follow his bus and they would stop and prepare fried chicken, and they called them the chicken ladies, and probably for other reasons as well. And they just kind of kept him and the band supplied in fried chicken and perhaps other acts of kindness too. I don't know. So anyway.
So believable for Willie's camp. Like, I would believe that in a heartbeat.
Why is the camera on me right now? Go away. I'm sunburned, y'all. I'm not red. Sorry.
Well, now there's another story. Was when Willie Nelson.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm just
between these stories.
Can't let me breathe. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. You're fine. Go on. I'm sorry. I'm just teasing.
Well, Willie came to Murray State to play, and in their beautiful auditorium. Saw a lot of good stars there over the years, including Alison Krauss. But Willie came, and I was one of a handful of radio people who got to go backstage or onto his bus. They opened the door, and the smell of weed was so strong, and we went up on the bus. And this was late 90s or early 2000s, so it's been a long time ago. But I had never, I'm just going to be honest here. I didn't grow up listening to country music, so I didn't really understand the mystique of Willie Nelson. And I didn't really get it. And when we got to meet him and I asked him, he said, "You guys got any questions?" He couldn't have been more gracious. And I asked him, "So tell me about writing Crazy." I said, "I know you've answered that question 100 times, but please just tell me." And he did not act bored. He didn't sigh. He didn't roll his eyes. And he looked me right in the eyes while he was telling me that story. And he was so magnetic. I've told people it was almost like meeting a religious figure, because he was so charismatic and so warm, and his brown eyes just draw you in. And that's when I understood why the chicken ladies fried up pans of fried chicken and followed the bus around.
It all
you
makes
become a chicken lady. Tracy's like, I'm contemplating grabbing some chickens.
This chicken lady gig sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I don't know. I don't. You can get quite bigger than Willie Nelson in a cool story,
right? You pulled out some big guns there, Tracy.
I told you. She's got the radio street cred, man. You were around when these guys were they weren't the legends they are now, but being a part of that scene, you now can see how big of an influence like the radio world had even on these artists. It was a big deal. It kind of leads up. We have a really good question from my friend Noni. She's in a band called Black Thought Bloodline that I play with, and they're somewhat local based. You may know some of them. But Noni asked a really good question. And for our friends who are artists who are kind of curious about how the radio world works, getting on the radio, she asked this very eloquently. I'll let you handle it. She says, as an independent artist who may not always have the budget for a radio promoter, what's the best way to personally reach a program director and get our music considered for airplay? Or is that even possible in today's radio landscape? Because it is a little bit different world now than what it used to be.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And I'm definitely not the best source for this information. We're a community station, and we're not a reporting station. So in other words, we don't report to the radio station every week. We don't receive all the new music that commercial stations do. We're a nonprofit station. This would be a good conversation to have with Brother Bill Reed or with Owen Pickard from King Country or Jake FM. But I will tell you that radio definitely is still the first source for a lot of people when it comes to new music, especially consumers who are older than you guys and people in their 20s and 30s. People who are 40 and above, I would say they're more likely to be first exposed to music on radio. And maybe they are, in the view of some people, old farts and jackasses, but they do still buy tickets and they do still buy music, and they will definitely still come out and support their favorite artists. And so for those people for who radio is the first line for new music, that our importance is still there. As far as how you get that music to music directors and get your product in front of them, I'm not the best source for that. I'm kind of out of the loop. But I will tell you that a publicist definitely helps. I can tell you about an artist who I saw their career go from here to here once they got a publicist involved. who was able to build those connections to increase their visibility on social media. And it was key in taking their career to the next level.
I think these days
I'm sorry, but there's just not a lot of information I can give. It's just not my wheelhouse.
Bit more of kind of several pieces in the pie now versus how it used to be. And I've kind of asked some DJs this, but the promoter side does make a difference. But I will say a lot of it is just still relationships. And Noni and I have had this conversation. I still tell people it's honestly being at the right time, at the right moment with the right person. And being in the Texas scene, we're around DJs a lot at a lot of different events. And sometimes it's just walking up to them, introducing them and saying, hey, I'm here, I'm going to send you an email. I feel like that still matters, like that one-on-one connection, making sure they know who you are. And then that way, if you do use a promoter, and that's a whole conversation on, getting into the promoter world. A lot of people don't realize that the songs that you hear on the radio are usually through a promoter. You give your song to a promoter and then they send it out to all the DJs, they pitch it for you. So I think a big part of it is that, but a lot of it's social media. Like you said, a publicist is definitely a good route if you're at that point in your career, because it's not just because you're good anymore. I think that's kind of the main thing, that it used to kind of be, if you were really good, oh, you got a shot. It does not matter anymore. It matters how good you are, but it doesn't take a really great artist to be huge anymore. Sometimes they have a huge social media platform or they have the right promoter. So I think for me, it's just kind of seeing where you can get in, where you fit in type of thing. And for you guys being a more of a community-based radio, like you said, do you miss being more of a reporting station? Because that is such a separate world, working in radio, whether you're more of a community station or you're more of a reporting to the chart station. How was the crossover for you to go from, hey, we're spinning all these country hits, to now more of a community-based station? Because I think
it was a big transition, honestly, because you went from your focus being artist-oriented and contests and things, and going and doing live broadcasts at a car dealership on the weekend, to, in my particular case, working at a community station. We are the community station of the Chickasaw Nation. So we are about getting out their message as to the programs and services that they provide to their people, about community events, not only their community events, but all around in Southeast Oklahoma, all around Chickasaw country. And something that I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about the importance of radio and what's unique about it is that locality. We are super, super local, talking about our part of Oklahoma. And that especially includes our severe weather coverage. We have our own meteorologist on staff. Our station director, Brian Brazier, is a meteorologist. So he's literally on the air saying, okay, you people in Bing, y'all don't need to worry about it. But if you're in downtown Ada, yes, there's a storm coming your way and it'll be here in 20 minutes or whatever that is. It's going to miss you folks in Bing, but it's going to get in Ada, you need to be concerned. So we can be local, super local in that respect, but also in the things that we talk about on the air, about the Chickasaw Nation and other things that affect our community. And it's all about that. It's all about that. That is our mission, is to improve the overall quality of life of the Chickasaw people. And we do that through information. And it's a totally different mindset that I had to adjust to as far as the types of interviews I'm doing. But that interview experience that I had in Oklahoma City definitely has helped. But it's the most fulfilling work. KXY, the most fun work I've had in my entire career. But working for the Chickasaws is the most fulfilling work I've ever had, the most meaningful work I've ever had. And I'm grateful every day. I couldn't ask for a better employer. And I say it all the time. I'm not Chickasaw. I'm not Native American at all. I'm just lucky enough to work for them. They're the greatest employer you can imagine. And I'm very, very grateful.
Well, we were definitely happy being in this community that they scooped you up and brought you back home. Cause it's like, man, it's so, I cannot tell you how nice it is to turn on at y'all station in the car and hear you on the local airwaves. It's a big deal. It's like, as long as Tracy's on the air, I know it's going to be good and you're going to keep us informed. And it is fun seeing you go from what you had back in, at KXY was just music and reporting and interviews and concerts, and now you're more of a community activist versus, it all being about the big stars rolling through.
Yeah.
Does it, the music that you guys play on your station now, where does that, because like you said earlier, y'all are all over the place. I know you played me back in the day, when
I
I
sure
really
did.
started playing
Yeah.
my
Lauren
first
Lee and
records
Liberty
were Liberty Road. Yeah,
Liberty Road.
we
Yep.
had a Christmas song that we released on our own, and for a couple of years it was spinning on y'all's station down there, and KYKC picked it up, so it was really fun. But do you feel like, where do you guys get your music source now, because it's so different?
One thing I was going to tell you, yep, we play Lauren Lee and Liberty Road, still have them in our library.
Oh,
But
that's funny.
also, but we also play the Imaginaries. Have you guys heard that duo? They're
Yes,
out of,
I
love
played
those
a show
guys.
with them a couple years ago. They're amazing, Maggie and Shane.
They are. They're so great. And we play them, especially at Christmas. They have a couple of Christmas songs that we play. Cutter Elliott, we play, who's a friend of mine from Oklahoma Opry. Maddox Ross, who you gig with. He came in and did a radio tour, and we play his music as well. Zach Ray, another Opry friend. So you're right.
Yeah,
What you said
Zach.
earlier about those connections is very important in getting your music out, and just making those connections, those relationships is really key. And
Yeah,
gigging when you're not making a dime, we've all been there, and
yeah.
but sometimes that's the gig that will get you and Lord knows we don't want to hear, no, this is a free gig, but hey, you're going to get so much exposure.
I always tell
We've
people
all heard that too.
exposure doesn't pay the bills.
No, it does not. It doesn't feed the bulldog, or in your case, the kitty cat. So,
But then again, depending on the circumstances and the like what the situation is, I think that like with radio tour, like you don't make a dime when as an artist when you're going to these stations and everything, and you're actually like it's essentially a free gig, but it's not, because the return is that they're getting your music out there, they're broadening your audience, they're bringing people to, now we have social media and we have the streaming services and everything as well that people can come and follow and subscribe, all these different things, and Patreon as well, and those options wouldn't be as broad for us as artists if it wasn't for radio giving us those opportunities. And so like me as an artist who's been on radio tour many times, when I used to live in Kansas, I'd come down to Texas and Oklahoma for a week at a time and hit radio stations. Lauren's gone with me. That's a whole nother show. But anyways, it's my favorite part of it. Like, I love music, don't get me wrong, and I love the idea of being able to reach as many as possible with the messages that I'm trying to bring and everything, encouragement and all that. But I did not expect the joy I had from becoming friends with the radio industry individuals, and even I like feel like I've known you forever, even though like we've just now talked tonight, and it's just such an exciting experience to not just learn from you guys and just get to know you, but to understand that, hey, this is a relationship that I get to be a part of in this world, and it's so cool. I'm sorry, it's just I don't even know how to explain it. I'm like
I
such a
think
dork
that
about it.
ties into kind of Noni's question earlier, that if I had to, I don't have advice because I'm no pro in it, but I always just tell her like relationships do still matter. Radio tours matter. You guys will remember us if we stop by your station and see you. So to kind of go back to what she was asking, for me, it's all about relationships. I'm kind of like Cynthia. I didn't sign up for the best friends that I have in radio when I started playing in Texas. I just didn't. I didn't realize it was such a connection between the artists and the radio DJs, and making the point to stop. I kind of, in my mind, I thought, we go on these radio tours, we're kind of in their way. We're taking time out of their day. How many times they have to do this? But I learned real quick, like, that was the best part of their day. That was, they would make time in their
yeah.
schedule to
Not to
allow
toot our own
those
horns or nothing,
to come in. And
we
it
were the
wasn't
best
just,
part.
yeah, but it wasn't just us. It was very much their social life was having artists come in and get to know each other. And I kind of came into it being like, wait, what? DJs really have a big impression on our careers, and it goes a long way when someone plays your record. So I think for me it's just making friends with people in the industry, and realizing that radio is a big part of it. It always has been, it always will be. It looks a little different now, and we've kind of touched on, how the radio world is a little different. You can't just kind of, like Nody said, you can't just, mail your cassette tape or your CD to, the local radio station and expect them to play it now. But you can show up at an event where there's a partner and say, hey, I'm so and so with this band. One of these days, hope to get myself on your station. I feel like that still goes a long way with DJs. Not everybody in the industry. Some people don't care. Managers don't care. Booking agents don't care. The big agencies, it's not as big of a deal. But for you guys, it still matters.
And I will also say that smaller markets, you're more likely to be able to make that sort of relationship that will get your music on the air. Because what used to be Clear Channel is now iHeartMedia. That's who Clear Channel owned KXY when I was working there. Their playlist doesn't even come from Oklahoma. It's from some corporate office out of state telling them what to play in Oklahoma City. And that goes for all of their stations nationwide, for the most part. I can't say for certain that everything they play is determined from out of state, but the vast majority of it is, as far as what's getting played and how much. Whereas smaller stations like an Ada-sized market and in between here in Oklahoma City, local stations, smaller stations, you can make that relationship and get your music on the air. We're proof of that because we do play independent artists.
And it's funny because Cynthia and I have been on radio tours where we'll have one stop at a bigger station, and you're kind of like, oh, now this is bigger deal. These DJs are, bigger market. But man, we would have more fun going to these dots in the road, tiny little market stations. It was just as much fun, if not more fun, with those stations. So I think that's a good point for you to make. Just, don't overlook the small stations, because it may be a small station compared to a bigger one in the market, but in that community, they matter there.
Well, and something too that I've come to the conclusion of is, like, before I ever started working with the charts and the different things here in Texas and Oklahoma, we had a local radio station, KREJ. It was a little Christian station in our town, ran out of someone's garage, and they played my music at that time, and there was no kind of like chart for them to report to for this or anything. They were not associated with anything like that. And that really gave me an appreciation of radio, even if like you're at a local station, you aren't reporting to a chart. But the thing is you're still important. You're still valuable to us as artists. And I think that not only not overlooking the small stations that are associated with the chart, but don't overlook the stations that are not associated with any kind of chart where you can have some sort of status thing. I mean, it doesn't matter. If an audience is an audience and a relationship is a relationship. And to me, like, I would love to go into any radio station that'll let me come in and be a part of something that is so much bigger than people realize. And I mean, I don't know. I think that like, just because it doesn't report to a station, to a chart, doesn't mean that a radio station isn't valuable and doesn't have a purpose. As artists, we have got to make sure that we keep that mindset that out of the whole situation where they don't report to the chart, so it don't matter. Excuse me, ma'am, do they play your music? Sorry, my accent.
And we have that freedom. Yes. It can literally be that I heard something online or heard it under a video, like a reel on Facebook, and found that artist and found that song and added it, to our playlist. Just that simple. Or saw it on the Texas music charts and added it, or heard it on the Christian Countdown show that we play and added it, or saw an artist at the Artesian Arts Festival in Sulphur. That's where I've met a lot of our local artists, and we've added their music because of those relationships and that live exposure, as you said. And so there's a lot of freedom that comes with being a non-reporting station. We have the freedom in some ways that they don't.
That makes sense. I never thought of that, but that's so true. And not that I have any kind of an authoritative take on radio by any means, but just what I have learned on my end of things, what I've learned over the years is that, that's a really cool take. That I never thought of that freedom that you would have in that capacity, and that's so cool. And I appreciate you for sharing that with me. And now I want to come visit you. So
Well, come on. I'll buy you a hamburger at Folgers. They've been there since the 30s. It's the best burger in Oklahoma.
Oh my gosh, I've not had a Folgers burger since I've been back in the area, and about once a week it'll cross my mind, and then I'll forget it, and it'll be past lunchtime. But it's so funny. We need to be there for lunch one of these days.
Yeah,
I'll come visit, and we'll all go out for burgers. How about that?
Man, I'm in. Just let me know when.
Yeah.
One story you guys might be interested in is a radio tour of a different type. My unicorn artist, the one I never got to meet, that I would give up many of the people I did get to meet in order to get to meet this person, is Dolly Parton. I've never met.
Me too.
Yeah, one of my absolute. I don't mean to sound sacrilegious by saying Holy Trinity, but it's Willie, Merle, and Dolly. And I've met Willie and I've met Merle. I have met Willie. I did meet Merle, but I never had met Dolly face to face. But when she was promoting her Backwoods Barbie album, this was when I was at KXY in Oklahoma City, she did a radio phone tour all in one day. She did back to back interviews promoting this album. Crack of dawn, she started these interviews that day, and I was on middays, so that was early or mid-morning by the time she got around to me. And the way they did it is, there was a list that they were going down, doing one interview after another. And so they called in to let me know that I was 15 minutes out, and then they'd say, hello, you're 10 minutes out. And my heart's hammering. My heart's just hammering. The more and more they tell me that the interview's getting closer. And all right, we've got one interview ahead of you. You're about 5 minutes out. And I'm about to hyperventilate. And so we're not on the air yet. And they said, all right, you're up next. Dolly's on the way. And I could just feel tears starting to run down. I'm getting choked up thinking about it even now. And I was waiting, and she said, hi, Tracy? And I said, yes. She said, this is Dolly Parton. And then and I just had to turn my head, and I was crying and choking up, getting it back together. Now. And she was absolutely everything you can imagine. She was so wonderful. And one question that I was glad that I asked her, I said, you are worldwide famous. You're absolutely iconic. You can go to non-English speaking countries and they know who you are immediately. I said, why do you? And I said, you've written some of the most iconic songs in history, like I Will Always Love You and Coat of Many Colors and Jolene. And I said, frankly, you've got all the money that you and all of your family are ever going to need. You've got all the celebrity. You've got all the power, the clout, the ability to give back as a world famous philanthropist. I said, why do you still work so hard at this? And she said, I said, why are you doing this? Why are you doing a radio tour? And this was on the air. And she said, because I still want to be a relevant artist. I don't want to be just that funny old lady on talk shows or that old lady on the Grand Ole Opry. She said, I came to this town to be a songwriter and to make my living. And that is still what I am at the heart of it, is a songwriter. I want my music to be relevant. I want to be part of today's music scene. And that was so touching to me. And
that's cool that it kind of talks about, tracks back to what we were talking about. If radio didn't matter, and if the radio tour did not matter, she would not have done it. Dolly didn't have to do anything that day when she woke up, but she made a whole day devoted to calling you guys and having conversation with you. Yeah. So I mean, I am of the thinking that if Dolly says it, it's good, and whatever she says is gold. But it's a big
I'm with you
to learn that if even someone at Dolly's status is going to go, yes, this is important for me to do these radio interviews, like, what else do we need to know? I will never be too good for a radio interview. If Dolly can make out time for it, so can we, Cynthia.
I was on game for it. Don't ever
gripe about another radio interview again.
I've never griped about a radio interview. I just gripe about doing my hair when I have to do video interviews. That's all.
True. And
and we would have
in the morning. But
oh my gosh, yeah. And for musicians, 9:00 in the morning is in deep REM sleep time. So if you guys are getting it together to visit radio stations before noon, that's an enormous sacrifice, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a big thing. We have fun though. We've done 2 radio tours, and we've done some one-offs of different radio interviews, and
Yeah.
and you're for Cynthia's situation, her promoter always booked the radio tour, and that's something for people that are watching. When we talk about radio tours, most of the time it's booked through a radio promoter, and you don't necessarily know where you're going. You don't get to ask. They send you the itinerary, and it's like, you're going to be here at 8:30 with this station. Here's the DJ's names. Go. There were times in Texas, we were talking about those small market stations. There are sometimes we would have to leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get there by 8 o'clock, because you want those morning interviews. That is when you've got the most listeners. And that was the toughest thing, man. Being on radio tour is harder than being on the road for gigs. Like,
she is not a morning person.
No, I mean, it's like you said, I'm just good and asleep by 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 to 8 is like my prime 3 hours right there. I get a whole night's sleep in those 3 hours. And the sacrifices you have to make to get on the radio, like, you can't, it's like, well, can't we do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? No, nobody listens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You want to be there in that morning drive. So yeah, radio tour is crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
I enjoy it.
And it's, again, that you're talking into a live mic to a live audience. It's very spontaneous. It's of the moment. There's nothing more kinetic than that. And
I know for me with Cynthia, like, I have learned more doing radio interviews. I've learned more on how to just even carry yourself in a live setting, but it shows I'm way more comfortable talking, because to me, if you can do it on the radio, the weird thing is you can't think about it. Like, in the moment, when you start thinking how many people are probably listening to this in their car, in their house, it gets a little overwhelming. I mean, if it's a big station, you're only sitting there talking with the DJ, but in your head, you're like, wait, we're not the only ones in the room. It's kind of can get in your head a little bit.
You have to get over that when you first get into radio too, because you're thinking, how many people are listening to me right at this moment? I had a trash can between my feet the first time I cracked the mic at KXY, because I was so conscious of how many people were listening, and I was afraid I was going to be sick. So my hands were shaking so bad and my voice was shaking. And as soon as I closed the mic, the hotline called. It was a friend of mine who also worked for the station, and she was laughing when I picked up the phone. She said, "You're a little bit scared, aren't you?" And I could hear your voice shaking. I said, "Are you kidding? I'm about to wet my pants." It was, but then you just have to bring it back down to, as I said, you just remember you're talking to one person at a time. When I first started, I kept a picture of a friend of mine on the board in front of me so that I would remember to talk to just one person. That's why it drives me crazy in videos online when people say, "Hey guys," and I realize they are talking to zillions of people at once, but when it comes down to it, you're talking to one person, the person that's watching you at that moment. And I think
try to do better. I'm so sorry.
Well, Cynthia,
that's an old radio gal talking.
Yeah, we've joked about that, how when we do radio interviews, the ones that go really well, where you really connect with the DJs and the conversation is just a flow, you really do forget. It's different than like doing live TV, because there's cameras in front of you and there's a crew. Well, at a radio station, sometimes it's only that DJ. Sometimes they'll have, someone in the back pushing a few buttons, but a lot of times you're just sitting there having a conversation, and Cynthia and I are bad about forgetting that, oh, shoot, other people are listening. We should be a little more conscious about what we're saying. But the radio interviews just provide that comfortable space that an interview with a radio DJ is unlike any other interview that I've ever been a part of. And Cynthia and I both have done all interviews from one end to the other of different kinds, but we just will always geek out over radio interviews still to this day. I haven't had one in a while, and I'm like due for one.
I have to say though, like, I know that you're like probably a pro at interviewing people. We are not, but it is so fun to like have a conversation where it's not just about me. It's not just about you. We're conversing about the industry as a whole and our experiences individually and what that means as a community in the music industry. And I just love having you on here discussing this like this. I am so excited that this is happening. Like, I am like, sorry, I'm having a moment.
Well, thank you. It's absolutely my honor, and I'm more than happy to come on and talk about radio. I'm so proud to be in this industry, to still be in this industry. I'm very grateful and very proud and very happy about that. We have a young boss. We have two bosses. Brian Brazier, the meteorologist that I mentioned, is our station director. But then we have a station manager who kind of is he herds the cats. He keeps me and Mike Manis, who does afternoons, he keeps us organized and schedules. And this story needs to go on the air by this date. How's that coming along? Or have you got that interview going yet with so-and-so? Is that lined up? He keeps us organized. But he's only in his mid 30s. So he is not of the radio generation. He's of the internet generation. He did not grow up in this world. It's been a big learning curve for him, but he gets it. And he gets that immediacy of it. And when he's on the air, which is not his favorite thing, his voice will shake or he'll just think, I'm never going to get used to this, but he gets it. He gets it. He gets the immediacy of it. And it's cool seeing it from a younger person's perspective. And I think he helps keep, it's like teachers saying being around young people is the secret of life. It's the fountain of youth. And he definitely helps keep us old radio farts relevant. And
who is someone, this is kind of a random question, but I love the whole concept of like the radio voice. Like when you said earlier, I hear a lot of DJs say that their first story of getting a job was, man, you sound really great, you should be on the radio. What is someone in the radio scene that their voice you would put like at the top of the list? It's because we do that with musicians, like, oh, this is my favorite musician or my favorite fiddle player. In the radio world, what is someone that's like, this is our go-to guy or gal?
Well, she's not in our market, so I'm not sure if she is still on the air, but she was legendary at the Eagle in Dallas for decades. When I first heard her, she was on the Cat in Oklahoma City when the Cat was huge. Number one was Cindy Skull. She had the coolest rock and roll voice. And the thing is, some radio people sound one way on the air, but when you meet them in person, they're very different.
It's the same way with musicians and singing voices too.
You're right. You're right. And some people, you don't hear it very often anymore, excuse me, but some women on the air would try to do the breathy, sexy bit. And when you met them in person, they didn't sound like that. And very often, sometimes they didn't look like that at all. And so Cindy sounded like a rock star on the air, and she looked like one in person. And so she was bound for bigger places. I think she was in Boston. I think she was in New York. And then she was in Dallas for decades. And Cindy would be one that I would say has one of those iconic voices. Cindy, if you want to look her up, Cindy, Scull, and she's online. You can find her. She's great. She's great. Carol Arnold was somebody who was on KTOK for many years. It was talk radio, but she was so warm and intimate. And she's somebody I learned a lot from. She just passed away not long ago, but she was always one of my heroes. So she's somebody else that I would name. But I'm sure you guys do too. It's just like not only hearing a musician who's great, but I know you guys as musicians hear just speaking voices and you're like, oh, I bet they can sing. There's just something about it. A musical, even speaking voice for that matter.
I think it's funny because when we're in radio interviews, and not always, most of the time I feel like they have the same voice on and off the air. But I know Cynthia and I have like tried to not laugh on the air sometimes because you'll be chit chatting with them off the air, and then you get the countdown. It's like, all right, we're going on, and then all of a sudden they kick on this radio voice, and we're both like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? It's kind of like a singer. Some singers have, I feel like my talking voice is way different than my singing voice, and for DJs it's kind of the same thing. You'll surprise us sometimes.
Well, and it's a cliche, that the old-fashioned DJ with his finger in his ear and talking on the mic like this. Well, it's a cliche because it was like that for a lot of people on the air. And people have asked me, they would joke and say, well, your sexy radio voice. I said, hey, I'm not trying to be sexy because I can't back it up in person. So I just talk the way I am.
Say your voice is the same whether I'm running into the tire shop like we did last week. We saw each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's small town for you. Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been at shows and you've been in the crowd and I don't know it, and I'll be like, hold on. And my mom who's watching can contest to this. I will stop and go, Tracy Thomas is here. Like I hear her voice. Where is she? You've just got that voice that it's on the air or off the air. It's the same, but yeah, not all DJs are like that.
No, there's a lot of those, but hey, whatever keeps you on the air, I suppose. But.
That's right. It's like that old joke. You have a face for radio. I'm like, oh man.
Amen, amen, sister.
Oh, you stop that right now, ma'am.
Hush, hush. No.
You're-
When I was in college, I thought I wanted to do TV news. I wanted to be Jessica Savage, who was the top
Yes.
CBS NBC correspondent, or I wanted to be Linda Kavanaugh, legendary
Absolutely.
in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
And then I thought, I'm just not good looking enough for TV, so I'm going to do radio, which I still love. I loved anyway. And so that's really when I made it my concentration. And then, but what you guys have found out is you don't need a college degree to do radio. You don't need a college degree to be broadcasters as you are. And Patty Garrett, who worked with Dave and Dan in Oklahoma City, people would ask her, so did you go to broadcasting school? And she'd say, yes, I did. Don't go. She said, if you want to take some classes, get them in college credits. She said, you can learn by getting hired at a radio station, just like I did. I had no training there.
Being a country music artist, like there's different areas of the music industry that having a formal education is very important. But if you're going to play country music and be in the honky tonk scene, yeah, just get out there and gig. I remember being younger and it was the same. Cynthia, when we were in our 20s, late teens and 20s, instead of being in school, I was legit already playing gigs. And Cynthia was already playing gigs at a professional level when she was young. And we kind of skipped that college thing and just actually did the job. So I used to tell people, like, why would I go to school to do what I'm already getting paid to do? It's nice that we have that freedom in our job. Not all jobs have that, but ours definitely does.
Well, and staffs at radio stations have declined so much in the amount of manpower that's there, the amount of jobs that are available. I mean, when I started at KXY, there was someone live on the air at all times, someone live. And now there are 2 people at this station who are live, which is rare that mornings and afternoons at our station are live, because in big markets in Oklahoma City, usually the morning show is syndicated. It's somebody from a different market. Like Kid Craddock, for instance, and those jobs no longer exist for real live, warm-blooded human beings who live in that city. So it's so much harder now to get started in radio.
Yeah.
The jobs are still there. It's just a different world.
Yeah. I think Cynthia can probably agree to this, like the struggles that you guys go through in radio with your job being a little bit eliminated in the great world of technology.
Big time.
It's a lot the same for us. Like
yes.
Don't need the musicians and the music like they used to. And I think that maybe for us, that's something that I always have in common with DJs and radio people who work in radio. We both know what it's like to feel replaceable in this, how the world is changing in the entertainment scene. And so that's why it was really important for us to get some DJ folks, some radio folks in here to let people know it is still important. It is still relevant. It may not be what you see when you open up your social media. You got to dig a little bit to find little old us out there, but we're still out there doing the thing and it still matters. And I'm glad to have you on to talk about relationships matter. Chuck Weimer just hopped on and he kind of added to our conversation earlier. He said, have a great quality recording that's radio ready and submit to the program director. Finding that information is part of the process. That's a really good tip, because that's that whole getting to know people, make the impression, reach out and make the friendship first.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's also a website called Airplay Direct that some independent artists use, where radio people can literally go on there and hear new music, download it, and get it on the air. And since I'm not at a commercial station, I'm sure there are plenty of other resources that today's radio uses to have the freshest, newest music and to get it right on the air. And for reporting stations, the labels provide that directly to them, and they're selling this new song the way a car salesman is selling this, trying to get you to sell this.
You're very right. Yeah.
The rep from the radio station is telling the music director, hey, I really need you to listen to this new song by Cody Johnson. You think you can get that on for me this week? Well, if you've already got some gravitas in the business and some success and you're a Cody Johnson, you're probably going to have that music director's ear quicker. They're going to listen to that Cody Johnson song right away and maybe get it on the air that very day. But if you're a newer artist, it may take longer. But
And I think for me and Cynthia, Cody Johnson didn't start off being Cody Johnson. You know, he was running around doing radio tours just like we were back in the day. And that's something that I try to remind myself. Cynthia does really good at reminding me, keeping me in check. She did it for me today of just, you know, reminding like you still have to put in the work. Like the work still matters. And when you're a newer artist, it just, yeah, the established artists still work just as hard, if not harder than we do, but the work is still there. It may be different. It might shift a little bit, but putting in that grind really does still make a difference.
And we do get to see oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we do get to see the rewards for that. When I first started promoting to radio, I will say that like it was a lot harder. Like I made an impression, which was exciting, and did the radio tour and everything. Well, and just recently, this last couple of singles that I've put out, it was really exciting change of events when I had a couple of DJs tell me and program directors tell me, they're like, "Oh, you're a how they call it a no listen play or something like that, where they don't even
instant ad."
Instant ad. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I knew you would know what I was trying to say. No, they said you're an instant ad. And they're like, we don't even have to. I was like, what is that? And they're like, we don't even have to listen to your song. We're going to put it in rotation immediately. And I'm like,
wow,
what?
You have arrived, my dear.
Well, I'm just so honored. Like it's only a couple of people, but it's still like, to me, like I'm like, that's a huge honor that I have established myself to the point with the radio down here and one in Oklahoma, that they'll just be like, okay, whatever she sends us, we're gonna go with it. And I'm like, oh, my little pitter patter heart just like gets all like, ah! I'm sorry, I like it's so exciting.
But that's also an indication of the quality of material that you're producing. And that's the hardest part, is when somebody's put their heart and soul into something and they believe in it so strongly, and they're sending it to radio stations trying to get them to play it. And sometimes the quality's not what they think it is. And they're just not quite ready yet. Maybe they will be, but they're just not quite ready now. So you may put your heart, if you send out 100 copies of your music, or send out the link to 100 radio stations to download your music, and you just don't get that response that you're hoping for, it doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means maybe now's not the time, or that you need to put a little more work into it, or maybe your marketing's not quite there. You need to have somebody on the outside that you trust, whose opinion means something to you, and have them look at it and then be ready to take that constructive criticism.
Oh yeah, constructive criticism, being able to take that in this business is paramount. Like if you can't take constructive criticism, just get out. Just don't even keep going, because you got to be able to take a whooping and keep on trucking. Because I don't know how many times, like my first promoter, you can ask Lauren, my first promoter, she didn't take no crap off nobody, and by nobody I mean me. And so she whipped me into shape, and she told me, okay, these DJs and these music directors are giving you their time. They're playing your songs. She gave me a very healthy respect for what you all do for us artists, and it was like a really big thing for me to see someone holding me accountable and helping me understand the quality that was required, the status that was required, things I shouldn't say, which that's kind of gone out the window. But
well, she quickly learned. There's no filter.
She was like, as long as you're not mean. I'm like, I'm not mean. I'm only mean to my husband. So, no, sorry. I'm just kidding. I love it. Well, marriage, right? Anyways, moving on.
I have a radio tour story for you. I was on afternoons on KXY by this point. When I left the station, when I got canned at the station, by the way, I was one of 600 Clear Channel employees who all got let go on the same day.
Yes, you were, and we were not. I remember when that news broke, I was furious.
Oh, it was,
wow.
Well, you've heard the old expression, you stayed too long at the party. I did. I was in the second round of layoffs. But anyway, I was there for 14 years. I cannot complain. I had a wonderful run, and I'm still grateful for the opportunity I was given. But late in my career there, we got news that there was going to be a radio tour, but she wasn't going to be coming through till while I was on the air, late in the afternoon. And Bill, my boss, I think he was at a remote, maybe at a car dealership or something. He was the music director. He was not in the building. His boss, our VP, he was not in his office. So who's going to be there to greet this new artist? There was just me. And she and the rep were in the conference room very close to our studio. So I would run down there and talk to her. And then I'd go back and get on the air. She was brand new. She didn't even have a single. So I didn't have the authority to put her on the air. It was Taylor Swift. And the song was Tim McGraw that was just beginning to make some noise. And I had seen it on CMT. And I knew that she was just a kid, literally like 16 years old. And so the luxury of it is, since I was the one there from the radio station, I and a couple of salespeople, we got, one-on-one time with her to talk to her. And again, she was not a big celebrity at this point, but she was immensely poised, 16 years old, but she had such poise, and played Tim McGraw for us, just her and that beautiful Taylor guitar. It was so impressive. I already loved that song. I'd heard it on CMT. But when she took her guitar out of her case, there was just the bottom of the case was lined with slips of paper and typing paper and magazine pages and napkins. And they had stuff jotted down. And so she was putting her guitar up, and I said, "So are those song ideas?" And she grinned. She said, "Yep. When I just write them down and throw them in there." And the whole case was just
Who knows
lined.
what was in there? Like, you could have witnessed like any of her hits just laying there in that guitar
Yeah,
case.
maybe I should have stuck some of those around. None of us, how could we have known, But I will always say that I'll never forget when she won, the last time that she won a major amount of awards in country. It was when she was already making major inroads into pop, and the gracious way that she kind of said, "Thank you, Nashville, goodbye," that night at the award show. It was very touching and very gracious. And you can't be mad at somebody that said, this is, you fulfilled this part of my dream, but now the dream's gone in this direction and I'm following it. And then she wrote a check for millions of dollars to the Country Music Hall of Fame and left. And I thought, wow, now that's immensely classy. How can you criticize?
Yeah, I told you there's hardly anybody that this lady has not met in the country scene.
Oh.
Good.
Except Dolly.
Except Dolly.
So, well, you know what? If we get big enough, we'll introduce you.
That's right.
Please give me the hookup.
We'll let you know if that happens.
Please. Oh, one more story.
One more good one.
As you can tell, speaking is not a problem for me. It's how I make my living. But there was one time I was struck dumb. I could not speak. This was at Fanfare, which you guys know is the
Ooh, Fanfare.
What do they call it now? Country Music Festival?
CMA
Fest? CMA Fest, right?
CMA Fest.
Isn't that what it's called now?
Oh.
Yeah,
And
CMA Fest.
Yeah, it was called Fanfare, and it was held at the fairgrounds in Nashville at the time. And the different buildings were filled with booths, just like at the State Fair, but each booth represented an artist. And at certain times during the day, they'd be there signing autographs for their fans. There'd be thousands of fans going in and out of these barely air-conditioned buildings. It was very sweaty and stinky, but it was so much fun. And it was, I mean, what other genre of music or artists going to be face-to-face with fans like that? And we were just walking around among the booths. I was there representing KXY. We took a whole busload of people out there. And so we're just walking through, and somebody says, "Hey, Merle Haggard's going to sign autographs. Merle Haggard's going to be." I said, "What? Where?" And they said, "He's going to be over in building so-and-so." And so I went running over there, and a line was already forming in front of this booth. And they were snaking the line, so it wouldn't take up so much space. And there was a woman I didn't know in front of me. So we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, Merle damn Haggard walks out from behind the booth and sits down and starts signing autographs. And I was flipping out. And I grabbed that woman by the arm in front of me, and I'm tugging her arm, and I said, "That's Merle Haggard right there." And she said, "I know, we're going to meet him." And I said, "But it's Merle Haggard." And I was just mind blown. So the line is snaking back and forth, and finally it's my turn. And I sat down, and I was just staring at him. I was just staring at him. And he looked at me, and he kind of goes, "Where are you from?" And when he asked me that, I was able to speak at last. And I told him that.
I would have just been dumbstruck myself. Like, what did you say in the presence of Merle Haggard? Like, what words are there that are worthy?
Well, once he broke the ice and I was able to speak, then it all rolled out how my dad was an Okie child, just like Merle was in California, and grew up with so little. And that's he was basically the only country star that my folks listened to at first. And then my mom introduced me to Dolly as well. But that was it, basically Dolly and Merle and Charlie Rich, the most beautiful girl in the world. That was it. But I got to tell him that connection with my family, that my dad was an Okie. I grew up the child of an Okie who he grew up in that kind of poverty that Merle sang about. And that meant so much to us. And so I was able to actually put a coherent sentence or two together and tell him that. And I'll never forget.
You know, you might not have met Dolly, but that's pretty darn close. Like, how much better does it get than meeting the hag?
Well, and my friend Amy Jack, who's also a musician, songwriter, she and Merle were good friends. He even produced a couple of cuts for her at the end of his life. Just amazing. And she got me to get to interview him on his bus outside In Cahoots. That happened because of Amy Jack. And then we saw him at Tumbleweed, and she got my mother back to meet him. My mom was so much cooler than me. She was flipping out without showing it, you know. And so, but again, radio brought me all these experiences, and I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. Couldn't take any amount of money for it. I've just been so fortunate with the opportunities I've been given in every way, both the fun of it, like I said, in those days, but the professional life that I have now is so fulfilling and meaningful. And I literally love coming to work every day. And now I'm getting up at about 5:15 in the morning to do that. So, but that part's not fun. But once I'm here, it's pure fun. I still love it. It's so much fun.
That's the main reason that I wanted to have you on, was for you to share these stories and just your impact on the radio world in Oklahoma. It's just huge. And it's funny because it almost sounds like you're kind of talking our language. That's how we are. If we ever quit having fun, we're not going to do it anymore. Like, I've just said that for years. Like, if I don't still love what I do when I hit that car on the road every weekend, then I'm not going to do it. And Cynthia and I, you know, we would never have even met had it not been for music. And we sit back and laugh, and we're like, you know, the fact that we get to do this for a job is just kind of crazy. Sometimes it's hard. There are days that we got to pull each other up by our bootstraps because it's difficult. Something might have happened, or we had a bad show. Like, it happens. But at the end of it all, we just sit and kind of laugh at each other because we're like, this is really fun. And I think for musicians, the closest person that can appreciate that would be in the radio world. Like, you guys get it in that same wavelength that we get it. It's different, but it's still kind of under the same umbrella, I feel like. And I don't know for Cynthia, but that's how I felt hearing you tell all these stories. It's kind of like, I hope that's us, you know, when our careers are a little bit further down the road, that we can sit and tell these funny stories of being, I mean, we already do anyway, but they'll be even funnier the older that we get and the more we experience.
Well, and it's funny because, like, you were talking earlier about how people knew you out in public and stuff, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're on the radio and everything. So, like, I get that. Like, I've had that in my hometown area, like in Kansas, when I would walk around and stuff like that. But the difference, ma'am, between me and you is you have a consistent paycheck with a salary. I do not.
DJs will always have that one up on us.
And maybe some benefits as well. I do not. That's why I have a husband.
But I'll also tell you that what you have in common with most people in radio, and granted, there are a whole lot fewer of us in radio than there used to be, but what you have in common is that a lot of people in radio barely make a living. They're in it because they love it. It comes down to that passion. One of the things I'm so grateful for is I make a living. I'm a woman who lives alone and can afford to buy a house because of the employer that I have. But for most people in radio, many people in radio, they do it strictly because they love it. And there used to be an industry magazine where you could advertise that you were available for jobs. And one guy literally said, we'll work for mac and cheese. Just hire me. You know, that's how much he loved being in radio. Granted, the rest of us are like, shut up, dude. I don't want to work for mac and cheese. You know?
Exactly.
That's like exposure points. That's exposure points.
We were talking about.
Although mac and cheese is even better than exposure points sometimes.
I'm not playing for mac and cheese. That's like one of my guilty pleasures. Like,
well, depending on where you get it too, man, with truffles. Oh Mwah.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Sorry, I digress. I like food. Anyways,
It's that cooking time of year. That's
it is.
top of mind.
The food's at the front of my mind. I'm so sorry. I've been cooking all day, so I made rolls for the first time today. That was a new experience. They
For
turned out
you.
fantastic. I'm very proud. I'm very proud.
I'm a little
Whether-
bummed you didn't make biscuits, but whatever.
Country is a biscuit. No.
That's
Oh, sorry,
another
go
thing
ahead.
that's changed in radio is I've eaten a lot of holiday dinners off of paper plates or a bag lunch that I brought with me on Christmas Day or whatever it was. So one of the good things about radio being digital now is that you don't have to have a live body at the board all the time. You can pre-record that show sometimes, or you can just let the computer keep the music playing, and everybody's at home enjoying their family time. So that's one good thing about it. And I don't mean that in a critical way at all.
Right.
That's one change where not having to have a warm body at the board all the time
Yeah.
is a good thing. But
There are pros and cons to the digital age in radio, with music, across the board. There's pros and cons to all of it, and I think that when it comes to like even I'm sorry not to like jump in the subject or anything, but when it comes to AI, and I've said this before to other people, there's a time and a place for it, and I think we just have to make sure we never cross that line where it completely takes over the things that needs the heart and soul behind it. And I think radio definitely needs heart and soul, and it needs to stay that way, in my opinion. But I am glad you get to go home and eat turkey.
Amen to that. One time my mom was running a little behind when I was working in Fort Smith, and dinner was not on the table. When I had to leave, it was 3 hours from my mom and dad's door to the station. I couldn't wait another minute, and I had to leave, so I missed Thanksgiving dinner that year. My mom was crying as I'm leaving. I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's okay. But that's just the way it was. I had to be there. I had to be live on the air.
Kind of like that for us. I've missed out on, nephews' birthday parties and family get-togethers because you got to get. And I think it's funny how I already knew how similar, the musician life was with the radio life, but hearing, you talk about it firsthand, like we really do have a lot in common in how our lives work, like how our careers rotate. Like it is very similar, and it's really cool to have you on it and just not feel like, oh man, we're not the only ones that feel like that. It's very much like that in the radio world too.
And like I said, it all comes down to that passion. That's what we have in common, the passion for what we do. And that's what, even though we really hate it when we've missed out on this or that, because we were pursuing, me and radio and you guys are headed off to the next gig. Once the lights come on or the mic comes on, that's the magic of it. And that's what makes it worth it, and getting to put that message out there in both of our cases. So you're right. We do have that in common. It's very similar in that respect.
I just love this so much. I could talk to you like all day. Lauren, good job.
You're welcome. I told you when we decided to have some radio friends on, I was like, girl, I got you. I know who to start with. There is no other option.
Well, and we're very honored that you took the time to spend with us, especially with the holiday and everything. And thank you so much for rescheduling last week. I really appreciate that. That meant a lot that you were willing to do that.
This has been fun. I was a complete rook in this situation. So thank you guys for walking me through it and making it so easy and indulging me in my old radio stories. I work with people who've been in the business a long time. We've heard all of our radio stories among ourselves a dozen times. So it's great to have a fresh audience.
Hey, there you go. And you know what? That's so cool. Like that's what we want with this program to be, is this show is we want it to be an opportunity to showcase where you've been, what you've done, who you are, what you do currently, and just the passion and the heart that's behind why we do what we do as a whole, as an industry. And so that's really cool.
We both truly believe that people matter in every aspect of life, and in our job it's all about people. Cynthia gets to write stories about people and turn it into music, and I get to work with some incredible artists, and it's just a way for everyone to kind of come together on the playground and tell our stories and just get to shoot the breeze a little bit, and just say, hey, this is a really cool job we have. But Cynthia and I, you mentioned it kind of earlier, we don't believe in gatekeeping, and we run into that a lot in our industry. And I'm assuming the radio world could be a little bit like that. I know the musician world is like that. You got these guys that have been doing it forever. They're not going to tell you how they did it. Why? Because you got to figure it out. You got to get out there and do the grind. And it's so nice to just have a show where we can all just go, you know what? This job's hard, but it's fulfilling and it's rewarding. And it's because the human being still matters in our job, and it still does in radio. And for us to be able to kind of tie it all together and throw all the ingredients together and bake a biscuit today, it sure meant a lot to me. You've been such a good friend for me musically, on and off the air, and it's just been a pleasure. You're just such a delight always.
Oh, well, how very kind. Thank you very much. This has been such a pleasure talking with both of you. So thank you so much for reaching out. I was very honored, and I'm honored even now. This has been great fun. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we have other DJs in line that we want to get to. And I feel like now that we've had you on, we're like, okay, we can hang. You guys bring a lot to the table for stories and information and education and just the lifestyle. That's what my thrill.
I wasn't ready. But like I was excited, but I'm even more excited now. Like, this is so great. We're gonna have to have you back and like tell us more stories.
Oh God,
later. Don't get me started. You've already had one little hint of it, but hey, I want to tip my hat to both of you guys for still out there, as you said, on the grind, working to make it happen, juggling lives off the stage along with that, and then fully embracing this new media for getting your message out there and your music too. Hats off to you, ladies. Y'all are making it happen on your own. So good for you.
Thank you.
Making me cry. And my makeup was great. Stop it.
It really does take a musical village, and shows like this are why we do what we do, to bring our friends together and to, we get to show that our lives are pretty cool, but behind the scenes is really what it's all about. And getting to share with our music friends, people who, Cynthia calls them her friends who are fans. Like, it's really cool what we get to do. And they don't have a clue sometimes what our job entails when we're not on stage. And getting to have people like you in our life is a big part of it. So thank you for hanging out with us and being our first radio guest. I knew it was going to be absolutely perfect. You have set the bar really high. Whoever we have on now, we're going to be like, look, you got to bring it, because we only bring on the good guys.
I'm sorry. You can't be in radio and not bring it. We know that everybody's going to bring it. And we're going to not be ready every time, I swear. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Tracy. You have been just a blast to listen to and chat with. I can't talk. I shouldn't be in radio. Thank God that...
Why she writes the songs.
I have things in writing and a melody for a reason. Words are hard. I respect.
Well, it's been my pleasure.
I think
it's been my pleasure completely. Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy, so much for hanging out with us. Cynthia, do you have maybe a song you can close out our show with?
Yes, but real quick before I do, Miss Tracy, do you want to give the information for your radio station and any pertinent stuff that you would want anyone to know that might be helpful to the community around? I don't know. I'm sure someone local is probably listening to this as well, because Lauren and you as well. I mean, is there anything that you would like to share?
Sure. If folks, if artists are listening in and they do want to submit their music, they can find our contact information on our website, which is kcnp.org. My name is unusual, but you'll find the correct spelling of it there on the website. And my email is just my first name dot last name @chickasaw.net. And that's how you can reach me directly if you want to clue me in on your music, or just say, hey, come check out my page or whatever. I'd be happy to do that.
Well, when our new song that we're kind of working on and going to be going in the studio soon, when we get it finished, we'll have to have Cynthia come up and we'll plan a visit. We'll get you the new song.
Folger Burger.
Yes, and get you a Folgers burger, Cynthia.
I keep thinking it's going to be a coffee burger because it's a Folger burger, but
no.
I would go for it. I mean, I like coffee, so
we're also big burger people, so we will have to plan a visit down with you and
absolutely
let you guys meet in person. It'll be great.
Oh, I would love that. But yeah, kcnp.org is our station, is our website. Come see us. You can stream us anywhere in the world through our website. So, and I hope folks do.
People listen, they'll be like, hey, I know what she looks like now. There's a face to that name.
Don't be
There's
too
a face
shocked,
to that
okay?
voice.
Oh, whatever. You're gorgeous. You just stop
Isn't she
it.
a doll? She's so precious.
Beautiful. I didn't even know she was the age that she is.
Don't repeat that, okay? Don't go
I
back to
caught
that.
myself, ma'am. I caught myself. You're welcome. You didn't even tell me not to say it till just now, and I still knew she would not appreciate that.
Oh, love
There
it.
we are.
That old. Oh my gosh.
I didn't mean it like that. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Let me still come and get burgers with you, please.
And hey, I'll share my senior citizens discount.
Girl,
Yes.
I am all about that. Let's go.
All about the discounts around here. Well, Tracy, we will let you go. I think Cynthia's going to do a song for us. If you want to stick around and hear Cynthia's beautiful
You bet.
What do you got? Again, before we go, I have a couple of shows this weekend. Check me out, Making a Live Record with James Cook Band in Wichita Falls on Black Friday. Come if you're in the audience and you hear a clap, you will know that that's you. I'm on the live record. Saturday night, I'm with Maddox Ross at the Chicken Shack in Arcadia, Oklahoma. I actually have an Oklahoma gig. And then next weekend, Cynthia and I have a show next Friday night in the Stockyards, and then wherever we're going to be on Saturday. Who knows?
Who knows? We don't.
Tell me again. Tell me again the night for the Chicken Shack.
Saturday night. This Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Yep.
Ooh, I just may pop in on that because I
You
love that
should.
place. I love you and I love Maddox. I'd love
Yeah,
to
we're
see
gonna
y'all
have some
there.
fun, and I get chicken for dinner there, so I am good to go with that.
So good.
That place
Mhm.
has the best chicken. Like they went from this little bitty, tiny little dive that was outside to now it's this incredible, huge place where you go get chicken. So yeah,
And they support live music in a big
they
way.
do.
So
They
it's
always
very cool.
always have live
Mhm.
music every weekend. So yeah, come hang out with me and Maddox on Saturday night. And Cynthia, what do you got? She's tuning. She's muted because she's tuning.
Yeah,
What do
I
you-
kept
what do you-
talking. Sorry about that. And you got a song for us. So if it's
know
it's a
what
good thing
Gonna play.
it's not a
We never-
banjo because you would never know when you're in
Right? We
space.
would never know. We never know what song we're gonna play. What are you feeling?
Funny story. I actually started learning on a banjo first before guitar.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
didn't
So
last
I
long.
switched to guitar. Well, like we're like, you have to put these little like things on the end of your fingers and finger pick, and my fingers are dyslexic. Sure. You know what I mean. They're not
do.
coordinated. So anyways, all right. Well, if you ladies want to mute your cameras, or not your cameras, your whatever that is. Yes, I'm going to do a Christmas song because, you know, it's my show. Kind of.
I'm gonna go ahead and mute my camera, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
Loved
Thank
it.
you so much. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm going to do my original Christmas song, Christmas Ain't Blue. This is also available online. I'm gonna be dashing through the snow, doing anything to get through. 'Cause baby, it ain't Christmas till I'm with you. Seems like this whole world is standing still, waiting until I'm in your arms again. But until then, keep on loving me like you always do. Better than a present under the tree. You say I'm everything to you, and it makes my heart shine, just knowing that you're mine. And Christmas ain't blue, 'cause baby, I've got you. Baby, it's cold outside, but that's alright. We'll get that firelight burning with some hot cocoa by the tree. Home is where I belong, like an old-time song, and it won't be long, and I'll be with you again, baby. Keep on loving me like you always do. Better than a present under the tree. You say I'm everything to you, and it makes my ain't blue, 'cause baby, I've got you. No, Christmas ain't blue, 'cause baby, I've got you. I've got you.
Yay! That was so cute. I forget how cute that one is.
Isn't it so like sickeningly adorable? Now I
Really?
was like, I wanted to write a love Christmas song, but I also was like, you know what? That Elvis has Blue Christmas, and I was like, well, you know what? When you have the love of your life, it's not a blue Christmas. So
Right. Very cute. Very cute.
Yeah.
We're already in the festive spirit. It is all Christmas. I bought a Dolly Parton Christmas t-shirt today, and it about killed me not to get to wear it, but I will wait till after Thanksgiving.
Why didn't you wear it?
Well, I bought it at Goodwill, so I kind of want to wash it first.
Oh, yeah, definitely understand that one.
Yes, I stopped in Goodwill real quick to make sure I didn't miss out on something really cool to wear at my show Friday night, and I didn't find anything except a really cute Dolly Parton Christmas shirt. So there you go.
I actually saw this Dolly Parton shirt that said exactly what that shirt says, but it was green at a boutique somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but I was like, I looked at Wes and I go, Wes, and he goes, oh, that looked great on Lauren.
I love when people say that. I love that.
And what's funny is I almost wore my James Cook shirt tonight.
We would have been Twinkies.
I know.
My hair looks
but
funny.
I wore my brand new rodeo tour shirt that Wes just bought for me.
New.
Yes,
I feel
it's
like
new.
we know when each other get something new. We're together way too
Definitely.
much. Speaking of being together way too much, next weekend is going to be an absolute blast.
Next week.
I know.
We're gonna have to do, guys. We're gonna do videos and we're gonna do pictures and all the things. You guys are gonna see.
So we have some fun content that will be coming out next week for sure.
Oh, it's gonna be nuts.
Well, have a happy Thanksgiving, friend. You are going back to Kansas, right?
Yes, I'm leaving tomorrow actually, so I have to go finish doing all the things.
Good. Well, be safe on the road. I'm actually, all my family, we're all just here at my parents' house. So my siblings are coming in, so I don't even have to go anywhere, which I'm very looking forward to. Very, very nice.
Before we go, I have to ask. It's been bothering me. Who's the baby behind you?
Oh my gosh. So that's my mom and that's my dad.
Oh,
I know.
So cute.
So they obviously didn't know each other when they were less than 2 years old, but when they met and, started looking at pictures and stuff, they each had a picture done in a sailor suit at the same age looking,
no.
Yeah, is that not just the stupidest, cutest story?
That's just syrupy sweet.
I know. That is my sweet mama. She's probably hating me that I haven't put those behind me, but that's where I'm at. And then that is my sweet daddy, and they have matching sailor suit pictures.
Why do I have a feeling too that that's the wallpaper that your mother was warning you about before?
It is. Yeah,
she's
gonna. It's not as bad if you just see a small section of it. But
I was watching our video about when that was mentioned today at the gym, because it's really great to listen to us on the treadmill. So anyone that wants to listen to it, all of our previous episodes are on YouTube, not in order, and we're missing one, which we're gonna have to interview her again next year.
Yep.
Miss America. We Facebook freaking deleted it before we could download it. So anyways, but I digress. Well. Do we want to call it a night? Cause I think so.
You got to pack, and I got a hockey game to watch. Dallas Stars.
Oh my gosh!
So, I know. This is interrupting my game time. Come on.
You'll get over it. Good lands, girl.
It's a big game tonight. No, I'm teasing. This has been a good one. Extra big special thanks to Tracy Thomas for joining us. She is. Now you know why she's so near and dear to my heart. I knew you guys would instantly be friends, and she's just great. She's amazing.
A doll. I truly enjoyed this. This was so fun, and I'm like thinking I'm gonna email this person, call this person. I have so many ideas. I'm like, I have so many questions. Like I'm like, yeah, I want to know your story. Like what well, who have you met?
Right.
You know, I want to ask more
I
questions to Tracy. We got to have her back.
no kidding. She's absolutely incredible. I think she was a great segue into us having a little bit more of our radio and industry friends on the show in the near future. It went really well. I know we've kind of been a little nervous, like radio people are just different. Like, what are we going to ask and talk about? Yes, my mom, there she is. She didn't listen. She's mad because I'm in the ugly part of the house, but
I think that wallpaper
totally
is
calling me out.
timeless.
It makes up for it with the cute baby pictures on the wall.
Baby pictures are adorable. Truly, they are. And honestly, it all kind of works together. So, anyways.
Yeah, I'm not showing you the rest of the room because the other walls, it's pretty hideous in here. This is the cute part. Trust me. This is it.
Well, we should probably tell everyone good night. Y'all have a fabulous Thanksgiving. We love you all so much, and we appreciate all y'all so much. And I apologize in advance for any other stupid videos that I'm going to be posting in the future. They will happen just because
absolutely.
I want to do it. It's going to happen.
Because it's my page, it's my show. I can do what I want.
Yes. Yes. I actually lost 3 followers on Instagram. After I posted a couple of stuff, I was like, well, hey, that wasn't their jam.
You brought up Instagram before we get off here. I finally hit 1,000 followers on Instagram.
That's right. I saw that. Congratulations.
Which is not a big deal to hardly anybody, but I have worked the least on Instagram. So it's kind of like, oh, looky there. I finally hit the 1,000 club.
Doesn't that mean you can go live now, or is that on TikTok?
I think so. We'll have to try that out sometime just for the heck of it.
Oh, you do you,
boo-boo. Us going live more often, that's scary.
World ain't ready. They ain't ready.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We still have a few friends in the house, our loyal friends who are still watching the show.
You poor people. What are you doing? Get some sleep.
Good night, friend. I love you bunches. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. And again, yes. Tracy Thomas, you're the absolute sweetest. Do we know what we're doing for the next? I think, is it just going to be me and you, our next show? Mm-hmm.
Next week.
We're taking it back to where it started, and we're just going to have conversation and see what happens next week. It's all about us.
Yeah.
We don't want to share.
We're going to just this.
We're just going to. Well, okay, you have permission to turn off the live. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving before Cynthia cuts us off like always.
Mwah. All my beautiful people. Mwah, 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 mwah. And she says bye.
Bye, Seth. Love y'all. Bye.
I had it and then it went away.